Good morning, Sharmila. It's great to have you with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, my name is Sharmila and I'm a playwright and scriptwriter based in London, and I was born and brought up in East London.
Sharmila, did you vote in the recent Brexit referendum?
I did. I voted to remain.
And how has the result impacted you on a personal or a professional level?
I think for me the vote to leave was really devastating, because I remember when we joined the EU, when we got, when all the kind of changes happened, and for me that felt like a real kind of change in the outlook of the British people. I felt we were part of something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed very progressive, very liberal, very kind of embracing of difference and diversity. And so for me this feels like a complete reversal of that ethos. And I just, in terms of for me but also the next generations, I feel like they're going to be being brought up in a completely different climate in terms of how they feel about different people coming from different countries, or how they feel about working abroad, how they feel part of something bigger. For me the most important thing was that we as a small island felt part of something bigger, and something that was full of differences and different cultures, different languages, different ways of doing things, and that actually made me feel safer. It really made me feel like, I don't know, maybe it was a false sense of safety, but I felt like there's something else, something to fall back on. There was the Human Rights Act and things like that. Just made me feel like there was some greater powers looking upon us.
Sharmila, you are a young mum. So how do you feel that the United Kingdom and the London of your growing days is now going to be different from the London that your children are going to grow up in?
It's very different. In some ways, in very positive ways. I grew up in East London, which at the time was very white and very racist, and I really suffered as a child with racism at school, and feeling very different, and feeling like I didn't fit in, and all the usual kind of rhetoric that second generation immigrants often feel. And now I feel like my son is lucky, because in his, we're gonna have to, yeah. Do you want me to grab her?
Yep.
And now I feel like my son is goes to school where everyone's from different places, from Asia, from Africa, from the Caribbean, from Eastern Europe, and I think that's really, really positive. But at the same time, there's this looming Islamophobia and kind of fear and propaganda. And so recently I did a piece with the Museum of Migration in some schools in South East London. And when talking to the young people about immigration and about how they felt about it, it was amazing how much rhetoric they just had absorbed and regurgitated without any kind of thinking on their own. And many of them were children of colour, from all over the world. And that's what disturbed me, is that there's a feeling that we're different to the other people that are coming, and we are no different to those people. We've all suffered, we've all come through adversity, we're all come here for different reasons, but at the end of the day, we have some things that are the same, and I think that's a really important thing
Enjoying
to remember.
the camera, I think.
Yeah. That's a really important thing to try and remember. And so what worries me for their generation is being part of a small island that is ignorant and doesn't have any appreciation of kind of who they are and where they've come from.
Thank you, Sharmila. I just would like to ask that since the result, are you feeling any differently about being a British person or a resident of London?
I did in the initial few days or a couple of weeks. I did, and actually I was, quite scared to go out. I saw a lot of stuff online about people that had undergone kind of racial abuse or racist attacks. And for me, it brought back a lot of stuff from being a child and feeling very vulnerable. When I did go out, there definitely was an air of kind of apprehension, I think. That has since died down, I think. But as a Londoner, I feel relatively protected because I feel like, you know, we're surrounded by people that, you know, the majority of people did want to remain. Going outside of London does fill me with a little bit of apprehension, more apprehension than it would have, you know, pre-Brexit.
Thank you so much, Sharmila,
okay.
for your time and for joining us today. It was great to have you. Thank you
You're
for sharing
welcome.
your thoughts. Signing off from London, this is Sharmila Chauhan with Dr. Priya Virmani.